How do I configure SSH so it doesn't try all the identity files automatically? I have been putting my SSH identity files inside my //.ssh/ folder. I have probably about 30 files in there. When I connect to servers, I will specify the identity file to use with something like. However, if I do not specify an identity file, and just use something like this, I get the error. I understand that is because if no identity file is specified, and SSH can find identity files, then it will try all of them. I also understand that I can edit the //.ssh/config file and specify something like. In order to prevent that connection from trying known identity files. So, I guess I could move my identity files outside of the //.ssh/ directory, or I could specify each host that I want to disable identity file authentication for in the config file, but is there any way to tell SSH by default not to search for identity files? Or to specify the ones it will search for?
You can use the identities only equals yes option along with identity file, see SSH_config man page. That way, you can specify which files it should look for. In this example, SSH will only look in the identities given in the SSH_config files plus the 4 ones listed on the command line. The identities provided by the agent will be ignored. The forms I and O identity file equals are interchangeable. In .ssh/config, you can include config like this.
User 76528's short answer is correct, but I just had this problem and thought some elaboration would be useful. You might also care about this solution if you've wondered why is SSH ignoring my identity file configuration option. Firstly, unlike every other option in SSH_config, SSH does not use the first identity file that it finds. Instead, the identity file option adds that file to a list of identities used. You may stack multiple identity file options, and the SSH client will try them all until the server accepts one or rejects the connection. Second, if you use an SSH agent, SSH will automatically try to use the keys in the agent, even if you have not specified them within SSH_config's identity file, or I, option. This is a common reason you might get the too many authentication failures for user error. Using the identities only yes option will disable this behavior. If you SSH as multiple users to multiple systems, I recommend putting identities only yes in your global section of SSH_config, and putting each identity file within the appropriate host subsections.
I generally do it like so. The options are as follows. O identities only equals yes tells SSH to only use keys that are provided via the CLI and none from the $home/.ssh or via SSH agent. F/dev/null disables the use of $home/.ssh/config. I/path/to/from_I.d._rsa, the key that you explicitly want to use for the connection. Example. Notice in the above output that SSH has only identified the my_i.d._rsa private key via the CLI and that it uses it to connect to some server. Specifically these sections and
use identity file but keep using SSH agent to avoid passphrase or prompts. The accepted solution of using identities only yes means you'll never be able to take advantage of SSH agent, resulting in repeated prompts for your passphrase when loading your key. To keep using SSH agent and avoid the too many authentication failures errors, try this. Remove any interactive console startup scripts that automatically load keys into SSH agent. Add the keystone agent yes to your client's SSH config. This will prompt you for the passphrase on first connect, but then add the key to your agent. Use SSH ID when you get too many authentication errors. This simply resets, deletes your SSH agent cache. Then attempt the connection again within the same session. You will be prompted for a passphrase, and once accepted, it will be added to your agent. Since you will have only one key in your agent, you will be allowed to connect. SSH agent is then still there for future connections during the same session to avoid reprompts.